everybody. This is Mr. Haig again. And you know, one of my passions in life is photography. I love photography, love teaching photography. And I have a gentleman right here who lives it, who breathes it, and is downright excellent at it. So I have Mr. John Skalicki. Did I say it right?
Skalicki. That's close.
Skalicki. So, okay, Skalicki. Okay, so John, thank you so much for coming into
my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And I am so amazed and by your work. I looked at your website. We're going to publish your website. So you're into photography, the capturing of a still frame of time.
Yes.
Okay. So, and because our audience are young teenagers and young adults, let me ask you this: what got you into photography?
Well, my goal was always to be a filmmaker. So when I was like in 8th grade, I would make Super 8 movies, and then I was really interested in that. And then I found photography, and what I liked about photography is that you could do it solo. Back then, you couldn't like really make a movie by yourself. So filmmaking was my goal, but photography I found really accessible. And again, it's something you could do on your own. So I took my first photography class at 16, and the first class I took, I actually failed, because it was a really boring class with put a red filter, put a this, put a that, like, oh, so I took it again. It was at Pasadena City College, which has a great photography department. And the second class had a really good instructor, and we learned more by doing. And I remember the very first shoot I had, where I had a friend of mine's sisters who I had model and shot her in the studio. And it was the first images I got, like, oh, wow, I really love them. So I started doing it at 16.
Okay, and so when did you decide you wanted to so let me ask you, at 16, so what happened between then? Now, did you go through, obviously went through high school, and then
I went to high school, I went to college, and I actually went to Pasadena City College, took photography classes, and I was working at the time too.
Okay.
And then I was doing photography on the side, and then I decided that I wanted to study photography more, so then I went to Art Center for 1 semester.
Okay.
Now, Art Center, it's like being in the Army. I really wasn't very prepared for it, because it's a great place, great school. But at the time, it was really hard. Like the first semester, you're shooting gray cards in 4x5, and it's very, very technical. And the only class that I spent all my time on, we had one class on Tuesday nights that we got to shoot 35, and we would shoot concepts. So I wouldn't do the other assignments, but the one that was the creative class, that's the one I spent my time on too. So, but I had a long period of time where I was working a regular job. I was working there was a department store called the Broadway. So I was working in their advertising department, doing the reproduction of the ads. And I was doing photography on the side, but not doing it full time. So I'd always be sort of embarrassed. Are you a photographer? You're not. It's sort of like, I couldn't really say that. And then I had a friend of mine who was working for some magazines, and they were like a car stereo magazine, mobile electronics. This was before they were big back then, and like home theater stuff. So what they did is they gave me a contract where I had, I think, maybe 10 days a month guaranteed. So it was allowed me to leave the security of a full-time job and then go freelance. Okay. Now, I hadn't had that much experience shooting product photography, but I did take one class later on at Art Center that was product lighting. And I have to say that one class, I learned so much, and then I was able to make the transition doing product photography and some people things as well.
And so you said you were working full-time.
Before, I was working full-time, like a job at advertising, the reproduction of the ads. Okay. So it wasn't really till I was probably like early 30s that I made the transition to be freelance, and then started being a full-time photographer.
Okay. So then you had enough confidence in yourself, because that's a big jump from going into a full-time secure job. And I trust me, I know how that is. So you must have had a lot of trust in yourself.
No, I was scared to death.
Well, that's still trust.
I really was scared to death. But what helped it was, and I'm still grateful to that friend of mine, because it was helpful to have the 10 days a month guarantee. So I was actually making more money than I was making, and I had set money. So that was really, really beneficial, because otherwise I was just shooting on the side and, here and there. but that really helped me. And since then, I've been freelance since that time.
But you were freelance even when you had this full-time job, so it was just not.
Well, yes, but it didn't really quite count too.
Okay.
But once I did it full time, then I felt like I could meet people and say I'm a photographer.
Okay, and what was your initial investment? I mean, I mean, obviously you had to buy cameras and
Equipment.
tripods and lights and.
Yeah, I first started again before I was doing it full time. I first bought a camera. The first camera was a Minolta.
Mhm.
That was my camera. Then I think I went on to a Nikon.
Okay.
And then I first bought a 200B, Norman 200B, which is a portable strobe unit. And I also used to use some photo flood lights, the types you get from Home Depot, little reflectors, and I would shoot my friends. And I have to say, I have shots I shot from that period with those $10 lights that I still really like.
Hmm.
So I wasn't, but I do like getting equipment, but then for Art Center, I had to buy a 4x5 camera.
Okay.
That was an investment, a heavy duty tripod. And then later on, when I started doing the stuff for the magazines, then I went to medium format. So
Mhm.
then at that time, I got a Hasselblad, which was the camera at the time too. And I always remember I used to go to a camera store called Mel Pierce on Hollywood Boulevard.
Mhm.
And I was saying, well, what happens if your camera breaks? And he's like, the guy said, you're a professional. You need to have two of everything. And
Oh,
that always stuck with me too.
I fully agree, but boy, that could be expensive.
Yeah. Well, the thing now is like that back then, I mean, I was doing it when, when I first learned, we were processing negatives, printing, all that, which is very exciting.
Mhm.
And then digital, I was doing photography for a long time before
Mhm.
digital became the mainstay of everything.
So you're working with film.
Yeah. Film way back then,
Wow. Did you
So you
develop
would
those films?
shoot, pardon me?
Did you develop those films too?
Well, in school, I would develop them,
Okay, got
develop
it. Okay.
them. The
So,
developing's not that much fun, but the printing is really fun.
yeah.
And my parents were great because they would let me convert the family bathroom into a dark room. For hours, I'd have it closed off, and I had my enlarger in the shower,
Mhm.
and I'd print the images, and it was just exciting to see them come. Are you teaching printing now too, or is everything digital?
Everything's digital. I mean, it's when it comes to high schools, there's a cost
Right.
factor that we have to worry about, especially purchasing ink and purchasing paper, and so. But basically, everything's digital.
And you're printing out things as well?
Yeah, we have a poster printer which I'm looking at right now, and we have
Great.
a color printer. So we will print out. I've just assigned our students 20 headshots that they have to do.
Oh,
We're gonna print them out and paste them up
each
on the
person has
wall.
to do 20 headshots or?
No, this is an option. This is one of many sites. I'm sorry, one of many projects that I'm assigning them just today. The other one was a 100 picture portfolio, which they will put online. And if they want to, embark this on a career
Oh,
or a
great.
hobby, so I'm going to have them produce at least 100 pictures of different things like landscapes, b-
Right.
body shots, face shots, animals, macro photography, all that stuff. So that's basically where I'm trying to get them to, run the whole gamut.
So will the 100 shots be to select a portfolio from there, or will the 100 shots be the portfolio?
It'll be the portfolio. They need to take 300 shots
Oh, to get
and their
that?
best 100.
And why'd you pick 100 shots as a
High
number?
school students.
Uh,
It's a different, I mean, I think it's very time consuming. The whole project is due on January the 16th. So
oh.
they're going to start pretty much right now.
So is there a way I can see them? Because I'd love to see.
Absolutely. I'll share that as soon as they're done. I'll send you a link on what they do. I can send you a couple of links now and show you exactly what they're doing. But I trained them as best as I could. I trained them about the technicals of the camera, the shutter speed, the apertures, the lighting. And of course, there's no way that I can fit everything in a high school format. However, my job is to plant the seed to hopefully they'll embark on this in a career. So I've launched film careers. I've
Heck,
launched.
that's amazing.
So yeah, it's what I do. We don't change we don't really change lives here as they want to say but we plant seeds. But I
So
guess
are you incorporating iPhones into the equation
no, I don't want them to use iPhones.
at all? Because
No,
what the reason for that is?
because I want them to use a regular camera. Excuse me.
Uh,
I want them to use a regular camera to be able to control the functionalities of the camera from basically, like I said, the aperture, the
Right.
shutter speed, and the ISOs. I want them to be able to control all of that. In a phone, they don't do that. It's too
And
easy.
are they shooting raw images usually or
The
JPEG raw images?
Yeah, yes, they are shooting raw images. I guess they're called CR2s
Right.
formats. I guess in a way that's raw, but I mean, it eventually gets converted into JPEGs and it goes up somewhere. So,
Well, the thing about it that when I was talking about developing my own images, how exciting that was, then there was a period where most photographers professionally, you shot your transparency film and you took the lab and then you got it and that was it.
right.
Now, once we're back to digital, suddenly we actually are, in a sense, printing our own images.
Yeah.
And the whole RAW revolution, well, I remember at first digital cameras, we would only shoot JPEGs. Then when RAW came about, it really did change things because then you can incorporate your specific look into it. And I will say on a job, I spend as much time on the processing of the images as I do on the shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now I still feel like I'm learning that aspect too.
Well, it's never ending. I mean,
It's
there's
never
always
ending.
new things happening. I mean, new technology happening. I mean, the cameras that are this small are
Right.
more powerful than cameras this big
Yeah.
50 years ago. So everything's always changing, and but I love the art of photography.
And
I
what do you love about it?
I love that I could capture a moment of time, somebody's emotions. I love to give meaning to a simple, photo.
Right.
There's a Dutch tilt, you tilt the and give like a meaningless walk. Somebody's just walking down the hall. I can just Dutch tilt and give some meaning to it. And it's about storytelling, I guess. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
what
I mean, to me, that's my criteria for the best art. It tells a story.
yeah,
Well, do you know Cartier? What did I say? Cartier-Bresson.
I
He was
don't.
one of the famous photographers, but
Mhm.
he had the phrase of the decisive moment. And that's kind of what you're talking about, capturing that one moment for me.
Yeah.
As far as me as a photographer, I'm not the best at capturing moments. That's not where my strength lies. I think my strength kind of is lighting. That's what I'm most about. Lighting is sort of number one for me on things too.
Mhm.
But I'm not really good at like shooting sports or dance, those kind of things, because it's really hard to get the moment too.
It is, and I try and I ask my students to go to football games and shoot there. They'll take at least 1,000 pictures in
Right.
one night. But yeah, I ask them to do all that.
Well, the thing is, it's funny is like now we do this with the luxury of 1,000 pictures,
Mhm.
but before you used to have your roll 12 pictures and you just had that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I first started shooting digital, I would shoot lots of them, but sometimes lots aren't always better.
No.
And I even saw another, it was an art, a photo thing they did, and the photographers only could shoot like 12 pictures, and that was how they did too.
Mhm.
Because sometimes with digital, I found you can get a little sloppy too.
Mhm.
Oh, I can fix it later, that sort of thing too.
Yeah, there's always that Photoshop element.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and that's why I sometimes feel like I'm shooting raw JPEGs, like, oh, I should work to not have to correct them.
right.
I should almost my workflow would be so much faster if I could just use the JPEGs too.
Right. Well, let's get back into the career part of it. So what is your typical day like as a photographer?
It varies because I've mainly done work that sort of just come my way.
Mhm.
So always for years, I'd like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. But really, I found that most of my work has come through contacts. So, like, I have a shoot on Wednesday, but
Mhm.
really, you have before that, you have prep time before that. And then today, I should have been working on a shoot from a few days ago, processing those images. So, I think you're not usually shooting every day, but you would have time shooting and then you sort of prepare for that. Then you'd have times processing the images or working on them as well. So the work varies, and sometimes work comes and then you have a period where work doesn't come. So if you're going to freelance, you kind of have to get used to that up and down of that too. That could be a little more of the challenge.
So
Now,
people know who you are, I would imagine. I mean, it's
well, I mean, if you live in a city, you do make contacts. And the thing I was thinking about earlier too is I know once when I would go to these photography seminars and building work and building your portfolio, and some of them would say, just go through your contacts and start marketing to the people you know already.
Mhm.
Because the good thing about photography is most people, or a lot of people, have a need for it. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
shot an event last week and it was a friend of mine's coworkers. Then another person needs some real estate shots and she's from that group too. Then I have a neighbor who needs some portraits and something to have her work. So that's kind of the good thing that you can market to people around you too.
Got it. Got it.
And,
Got
and
it.
how do you advise your students as far as getting work, or how do you prepare them for that?
Well, I don't because they're not in that world yet. So it's hard for them to even
Think
envision
about that.
unless they have, most of them are, I guess, in a way, your job and my job, we're in a gig economy. So our whole finance is based on the gigs that we produce.
Right.
So I don't know if they're there yet. I don't know if their parents are there yet. But the concept of advertising and marketing is kind of foreign to them. So I don't try to scare them as much. I just want them to get the techniques.
Well, I think it's because it's interesting because I think it's sometimes for artists that
Mhm.
whole marketing thing. Oh, that doesn't sound.
Yeah.
It's like a dread,
Hmm.
and I struggle with it too. But I think if you think about you're providing a service and you're providing information,
Hmm.
then that makes it easier too.
Yeah.
And I think that what I know, years ago, I had someone from work and she was an actress and I did some headshots of her for free.
Hmm.
And through that one person, I got her agent, and I had years of people that came through that too.
Hmm.
So I would think advice would be sometimes shoot something you really like and you'll find work goes to that. I have another friend of mine, her daughter is really into horses. So she started a business shooting other people who ride horses. And then
Hmm.
she got work coming from that too.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think the other thing about photography is it's photography business.
Yeah.
I know it is hard when you're younger
Hmm.
to think about it, but it's good if you can develop a way of thinking of it as a business.
Well, that goes with anything. I mean, especially with music and web design and graphics. Of course, that's a very good advice that you just gave. So maybe you've inspired me just now to kind of talk about that. They have
Well,
to earn an effort
it's
to.
I think it's probably one of the most challenging parts of it
Hmm.
too,
Hmm.
because you were talking about confidence earlier.
Hmm.
I might be different. I feel like every job is new. It's never like, oh, I'm just doing this. Oh, I still, if I'm shooting a person, any one thing I'm shooting, I have to really focus on it. And it's almost like, I don't want to say you're good as your last shoot, but each one you're going into, it's not just like automatic. Each time. And if you photograph a person, you have to figure out first the lighting, then you're dealing with that person who, I mean, I shot recently a
Hmm.
person who's older and she's not had pictures done in a long time. So you're dealing with that person's self-image. How do they see themselves? And now you're dealing with people who see themselves filtered a lot.
Hmm.
So what's that shoot going to be like for them too?
Right.
So, I mean, that's the thing about photography, especially with people, that's interesting because it's kind of an intimate thing. Someone's sharing their likeness with you and their ego's involved, and you're there to kind of go on that journey with them.
Hmm.
That's why. I mean, I've shot, people is my main thing. I like shooting, but
Hmm.
I've shot products and cars and all that kind of thing. Not much landscape, but some interiors, but mainly like small products or cars or people too. And
What category makes the most money, do you think? I mean,
well, the one thing I would say is that there are a lot of people who could shoot portraits
hmm.
and could shoot that. But when you shoot products, there's a lot more technical skill that has to go into it. So sometimes knowing that can be helpful. And for me, I think learning that really helped me because it helped me make the move to being a full-time professional. Which makes the most money? I'm not. I don't know. I think in some ways, photography has gotten less a little bit because so many people can do it or things can be done
Yeah.
with AI. In the past, it used to be like car photography made a lot of money too. But
Mm,
even that's more digital as well. So I think all those fields are kind of changing now too.
okay. I was gonna wait for you to say wedding photography.
Well, I think wedding photography is something that there is a need. I mean, that's actually a good one you mentioned because it's not something that could be replaced by with AI. And it's actually, and they can make, I think it's a one where there's a lot of work and you can make money. I think a lot of photographers you'll find are not crazy about doing wedding photography.
No, I'm
Have
not.
you shot any weddings?
No, I mean I have, but not professionally. But boy, oh boy, was she something else of that photographer. Wow. Uh, yeah.
You
I
mean the
mean,
photographer who was
the
your
photographer was
photographer?
hired. I just
How
kind of
was,
in fact in fact the bride liked my photos better than his.
oh, so what happened? What was the issue? What happened?
I guess she felt some of the pictures were kind of fuzzy or just a bad angle or the bad time, like, there's one shot. I have to agree with her. One shot, she was all smiling. They're about to eat the cake and he was frowning. Like
Oh.
that. Or he caught her at an awkward moment. Maybe he didn't like the cake. He took a bite and so and he took a picture of that. I was like, ooh.
Was
But
it your wedding or wedding you were attending?
I was attending.
Oh, and you did photos as well.
I just kind of did it on the side as just sort of as a just I had a camera and I just said, "Hey, can I take some pictures for you?" And because they were friends, and they're like, "Of course." So and of course, I promised not to get inside in the way of the actual photographer. I didn't get it away. I didn't bother him, but I took a lot of shots, and as did everybody else. They have their phones,
Well,
and
that's the other thing now that's interesting too, because you're shooting. And I remember now, before digital was really where it's at now,
yeah,
I would see people with their iPhone. And at the time, almost your iPhone almost sometimes did a better balance than sometimes you do with your cameras.
yeah, yeah,
So now, or even I've had some jobs that I'm getting paid for, and I have like a PR person say, well, they're shooting from this angle, that angle, and it makes it a little hard too.
hmm
But
yeah,
I'm trying to like also not fight that, like kind of embrace that too.
hmm
Like, okay, well, people get, and even I shot an event and I was even thinking of telling them I'm going to put a book up and all that. Maybe tell them, oh, if you want to send photos in too that your
hmm
people have shot, to add to it too. So maybe not to fight all the people shooting pictures, but maybe add to that as well.
Right. I could imagine, but I was just wondering. So, in order to get a gig, in the past, when for my wedding and for other people's wedding, the photographer would bring a whole like album of
Oh,
pictures.
yeah.
Now, is it now more digital now? They just send you a link to their website?
Yeah, and in the past, you would even go see people, drop off your portfolio, show them. Now,
hmm
pretty much everyone's looking at stuff online,
hmm
and a lot of people. I'm not real active on Instagram, but a lot of kids more like, oh, let me see your Instagram. So I
Yeah.
think people are looking at stuff there too.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
usually it's a website.
hmm
But the one thing it was funny it's a whole big deal coming in with a portfolio too.
hmm It
Photographers go through all kinds of head trips. And what do you teach them about portfolios, or what advice do you give them on that end?
give them only your best pictures
Yeah,
go in, your best shots.
yeah,
Not said oopsie or not oh he's cute, let me take a picture. No, your best shots that are marketable. That's the key word,
right.
marketable.
Well, and I think the other thing is that in photographers have a tendency to do this, and I've done this too. You want to get a lot of work, so you
hmm
put a lot of different categories in there.
Yeah, that's
But
what.
but it almost dilutes who you are,
Yeah, I guess.
because you almost want to be. He's the guy who really is great with. He does beautiful black and white portraits, or
hmm
he's the guy who does really good this. But if you're doing, I do travel, I do pets, I do this or that, and I have a lot of categories on mine too. It really takes away from the specialness of it, because part of it with photography is you can take a good picture, but also with clients, you're building almost a mystique. Maybe that's not the word to use, but an image of who you are too.
Mm-hmm.
So why does one person make $100 a day, someone else make 1,000, or someone else make 10,000? It's the work, but it's also how you see that person as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to figure out a way to present yourself to kind of get you to be seen that way too. The other thing with portfolio stuff is that you're almost as good as your weakest picture too.
Right.
So you have to be really careful about what you put in there too. But it's hard because you kind of get a little bit different opinions as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I find, well, I don't know, when you look at portfolios, I don't know. I was just saying, when people look at their portfolios, they're looking, and after about 4 or 5 photos, they've made an opinion already too.
Right.
Like if it's too many images, it's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but again,
that's a good point.
The portfolio is a struggle to figure out what to put on there too.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
what is a good beginner camera for, say, a student just going into college?
In the past, I would have said like some of the Canon Rebels, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't, but I've switched over to Sony recently. I guess it would depend on how much I would really go with their budget is.
Okay.
I would say might find, well, it would depend what they're going to do. Are they going to do video as well? Probably.
I would imagine so. I mean, with social media, I think every young person wants to do both video and regular still shots.
I would say, I mean, it's kind of I don't have a model in mind that I could say. But I would go with probably the least expensive camera, but I would also hold it and see how it feels. Because some people I have this one little, very small camera I bought for video. It does great quality and it shoots stills as well. But to me, it doesn't feel right to shoot stills. It doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like my Sony cameras now, I'm using, I think the A7 III or whatever it is too. I like that camera, and it's significantly lighter than what I've used before too. And so I might go with the Sony that does good video quality. And then a lens I recently bought was, I don't know if it's got it. I'll have to check it, Cameron. It's a 35 millimeter to a 150.
Okay, so that's a zoom lens?
Yeah, zoom lens, and you can cover a lot of range. You could go to shoot everything if an event with that. And the aperture goes from just 2 to 2.8. Some of the least expensive lens, they go from like 4 to 5.6. It's too much of a change. Okay. But I like that lens too. I think that's a great way to go.
So what is a camera of champions? What do the best people use? You said the Sony. I mean, what do people?
Well, there's some newer Sonys that are out.
Uh-huh.
I might say they might do some like digital Hasselblads or things like that. They might do medium formats. So that might give you better quality. But I think less, well, the cameras keep getting, as you said, better and better too.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, a lot of stuff we're looking at it on the web. So it's not big posters, not big things like that too. So I don't know if the camera is the most important thing. But what I would say is I might buy like one of the names, Nikon, Sony, or Canon. And I might more go to Sony now. Mm-hmm. And I might buy the starter plain camera. And then I would buy something with interchangeable lenses, not a fixed lens, so you can grow with that system too. Mm-hmm. Because eventually when you start doing jobs, like I said, you're going to want to have 2 cameras on that as well.
Right. So
another place, well, I was going to recommend is I've actually surprisingly would recommend buying at Best Buy.
Okay.
Because I'm on a program where I think I pay 100 something a year, and they have a policy that if you drop your camera, they cover it.
Oh.
So like that would be a great thing for people too. Maybe can't afford photo insurance. Too.
Yeah.
I would never think of buying from a chain like that too.
Yeah.
But I would say I would go to the camera. Now, another thing is I'm also a fan of sometimes renting a camera before you buy it.
No. Good idea.
And there's a place called, oh, what is it? Lens One or no, Lens Rental. I think they're in Tennessee. And
Mhm.
you can rent them, and the prices are a lot less expensive than
Mhm.
if you did locally. So, I mean, it might seem like a lot to spend the money in rental, but I might look what they have there and then rent that. And so you get a feel for it. So you have the camera for 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
I've
Well,
done
that's
that.
very, very cool. So, overall, I think you have had a fantastic career. I mean, I mean, I don't remember you did my headshots when I was thinking about going to acting, and I still
Thank
have
you.
them. It
Well,
was,
oh, thank you. I mean, I still feel like I'm still learning.
hmm
And the plus about it is, I think it's good for someone with a lot of interest because you do have a payoff.
hmm
Like a movie, you shoot, you work on it. It's like years working on it. Where a shoot, you have the excitement of the shoot, you do the shoot, and then you have the excitement of looking at the images too.
Fantastic.
So it's good for someone with a short attention span also too.
Well, I certainly appreciate your just valuable insight. You've definitely taught me a lot.
Oh, great. Well, thank you.
I'm sure that the younger generation will, because I know there's a lot of interest in photography right now, and I consider photography, I mean, photography. I just like the traditional camera more so than the phones. So,
Well, I feel the same way too. I have a friend of mine who's using his phone a lot. And even he was going to some places to shoot, like, well, you almost might want to get some rig for it because you also kind of want to look like a photographer.
yeah.
And I mean, I feel the same way too. When I'm looking through the phone, it's not the same. But
hmm
are you guys using mirrorless cameras or DSLRs, or what cameras are you
Both,
using?
both.
Yeah.
I predominantly use the DSLRs,
Uh-huh.
and but the other class has mirrorless. But I almost prefer the DSLRs at this point
Because it feels more like a camera.
because it
Are
feels more
you
like a camera.
what do you teach about lighting? How do you approach that?
Well, I mean, I don't really teach lighting. I teach how to control the lights. So
Okay.
with the fill and how to produce a shadow. Basically, I teach them, but most of the time we shoot outdoors. So natural light. Now we use those reflectors a lot. So it kind of highlights the shadow areas. So, but I'm not an expert in lighting, but I know that's an essential part of photography.
Well, I think the main aspects of photography, if we break it down, would be, for me, lighting is number one.
hmm Oh,
Then composition would be number two.
okay.
And then maybe one number three might be catching the decisive moment, as you said.
Mhm.
And then maybe four, if I had more, might be interacting with the subject.
Okay.
But for lighting, for me, is the thing that I feel like is number one.
I think that's everything.
If that, yeah. But a good way to do it is even to get, again, like back to the simple photo flood reflectors.
Mhm.
Those are great because you can even put a light around, you can move it, you can see. And I actually have a mannequin that I use. She's off in the distance here, but
Mhm.
I use her to practice lighting on as well.
Hmm.
So I think it helps to learn that because that applies to outside too. And now I think natural lighting is really beautiful and even harder too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Very good.
Yeah, lighting is and now what I'm finding, like, I always use strobes, which
Mhm.
can be a little bit confusing for people. But now I'm using like little light panels, and those make work easier for me too.
Okay.
Because when you can see it, it's really helpful. Like I have a job on Wednesday, and I'm not going to bring my strobes. I don't think. I'm just going to try to be more mobile and small.
So you know what? Just because of that, I'm gonna add lighting into my curriculum here.
Oh, great,
I
great.
think that's very important. I think that's really important. So anyway, John, we have gone the 30 minutes, and
Oh, that went by so fast.
yeah, it did. But I mean, you talk so fascinating, and I would have to say that this has been a very, very thought-provoking. And I'd
Excellent.
love to have you back on,
Great,
more
fantastic.
about your experience as a photographer. And I think you've
Great.
definitely and I'll link your website for our
Perfect.
members to see, and this will be on. This is Mr. Haig's class is at mrhaigsclass.com, but it's also at Apple Podcast and Spotify. So just type in Mr. Haig's class. And I'm here with John. You have been fantastic, and I will definitely thank you. So with that being said, this is Mr. Haig. Until the next time, over and out.